G'day, folks. How are you tonight? Looks like it's a little bit jerky at my end, and I'm a bit hesitant to open up a few other browsers just to see what it's doing on Rumble and Project Matilda, who we're back with tonight. I think it was a screw up at my end last night. For some reason, we didn't get out on Project Matilda. My apologies for that. And YouTube, we're back up and running on, well, I think all the channels on YouTube currently. Fingers crossed it stays that way. We'll see what happens. And further to that, we will be on all of our Facebook channels now. They've returned as well, I think, as of today. The Wake Up Facebook group is now back alive. So if you're watching through that for the first time in a while, then howdy. Nice to have you along. Just having a bit of a glance, and Paul was first in the room tonight, mate. You've been having a big day today. I'm surprised to see you in first. But I hope your day went well. And also, Rob's in the house from Brothers Gold Mining and Prospecting. What a marvellous man he is. He has been out doing very little gold mining and prospecting. I suggest he may have been doing a little bit of backburning and snake scaring and spider sort of whatever you do with the spiders. Shoot them? I don't know. Not allowed to shoot things out there. You have to have a gun license and a gun. Don't think anybody's allowed to hold theirs anymore, are they? Not in this country anyway. That may change. Things could get... well, no, let's not get sidetracked this evening. Hello, Maria. Chaos is in the room. Sunflower, lovely to have you back in the room again tonight, as you are every night. Don't know where... I'd be worried if you didn't turn up. I'd be sending, well, I suppose in Noosa, what are you going to do? You're going to send out a surf lifesaver? That's about all you can do, I suppose. We'll find you up there somewhere. Hello, Pegs. Alison, nice to see you. Veronique, how lovely to see you in here. Dave W, Dave O, not sure if he's in yet. Hi, Eve. Margie, hello, Margie Sedman. What a wonderful lady, Margie Sedman. Hopefully we'll see you soon, Margie. I know you're probably not in the mood to drive up to Rockhampton this weekend, but stick around. News about us coming north. You may well be south at this time. I don't know where you are at the moment, but if that's the case, then, yeah, all going well. And for those of you who aren't aware, Margie is the wonderful lady who surprised me with a very wonderful gift, who I've currently got with a friend of mine. I'm talking about an Itera wand. And I said that I would use it for myself and for people in the movement. Well, I'm hoping that the people who currently have it are getting a bit of benefit out of it. I know that they were a week or so ago, so hopefully it's improving. I'll be really pleased to hear what reports they have. But if you haven't ever tried the wand technology, please do it, folks. And don't be like me. Read the instructions first. All right, there's all sorts of things you can do with these wands, particularly with water, believe it or not. But that's for another night. Great to see you in, Margie. Lovely to have you. Hi, Jenny, the YouTube user from Rockhampton. Hello, YouTube user from Rockhampton. Look forward to seeing you this weekend. We're coming to Rocky this weekend. Wait a minute, I have something just for that. Let me go to the appropriate slide. There we go. We are coming to Rocky this weekend. Rocky is certainly rolling the welcome mat. No, that's not part of a palm tree. You can see down near the back legs of that bull there. That is what you might think that is. And a very famous set they are as well. In fact, all of the bulls on the bulls in Rockhampton are famous, particularly the ones that stand across some of the monuments welcoming you into town. And there are a lot of them. So looking forward to coming to Rocky this weekend. The people are really rolling out the welcome mat for us. And why is that? Well, of course, this Saturday is the Rally for Freedom around the world. And if you think that there is just one or two rallies happening and maybe Australia is just holding theirs or, whatever, maybe I'll get along, maybe I won't. This is going to be pretty bloody huge. Get a load of this. This is the number of rallies that are being held around the world. Currently, this map is days old. There could be more added by this stage. Now, you can get a bit of an idea that New Zealand, Australia, all the way through Indonesia, interesting China, Russia, those sorts of places, not so many, the old Eastern Bloc countries, but right through America, right through Canada, right through Europe, at least Western Europe. And looks like there's going to be one little event, by the looks of it, in Johannesburg. in South Africa. So that is just part of what you can be part of this weekend, should you decide you want to go and be part of it at an event near you. Now, if you happen to be in Melbourne and you don't mind a little bit of a drive if you're not close to Frankston, go and check out the big Frankston event. Darren Bergworth will be there. There'll be a whole heap of other speakers. It's happening down on the foreshore there, I think, from memory. And if not, just if you want to check the details, then go to My Place Frankston on Facebook and you'll be able to find out all the details there. I know that the Forest of the Fallen is going to be down there along the beach too, so that will be sad, but also beautiful at the same time. Speaking of the Forest of the Fallen, in Rockhampton, that begins at 11:30 on Saturday morning in the Gardens. The speeches will commence after that, about midday. Or a little after, but please come and be part of it. If you are in central Queensland, I know you don't mind a bit of a drive. Well, come and join with us. Do your shopping early in the morning or later in the afternoon, but whatever you're doing from sort of 11 till say 1, why don't you come to the Gardens and be with us and join with the rest of the world in rallying for our freedom, taking our rights back, and stopping this government overreach. My God, the government overreach that is being, well, now exposed here in Australia as well as significantly in America through the Durham report. Interestingly, mainstream media, not fully reporting the Durham report just yet. CNN have made a report about it suggesting that a lot of what Donald Trump may have said from 2016 to, the end of the investigative period may have in fact been true and that they were duped. Don't know that CNN have admitted that they were duped as such, but they are admitting that whatever Donald Trump happened to say, the vast majority of it cannot be refuted. It is true. And that includes that there was a concerted conspiracy against him from areas of government which were weaponized, including the CIA, who are not allowed to operate on American soil. This is all being exposed through the Durham report. Very, very interesting reading. I don't know if you've got through it all yet, Camillo. I know we're trying. So the Durham report exposes a great many really shocking things about the DOJ and the FBI and the intelligence agencies as a collective. So from this report, a great deal more will come that will, I feel, be relatively earth-shattering in the days and weeks ahead for the Biden government, which leads me to the Biden retreat, I'm going to call it. It's not really a retreat, but of course, Biden rings and wakes Albanese up. Albanese tries to get points. Oh, the phone started ringing at 4:30 in the morning. So what? Who really cares? But anyway, that was probably one of Biden's aides who had rung one of Albo's aides, and that aide had decided he'd better wake up the boss. So that's where that came from. The other phone calls that he had between 4:30 and 6 a.m. were probably to make sure that he got out of bed, had remembered to put his best tracksuit on, and had the photographer arrived so that they could take the obligatory picture at 6 a.m. of him talking on the phone to the President of the United States. Yip, yeah. Biden has said, can't come, debt ceiling thing hasn't been sorted out. That's a real problem. Well, he's right. That is a real problem. But what would happen, folks, if he was in Australia when all that blew up and the US dollar all of a sudden collapsed? It would mean that they wouldn't be able to fill their jets with fuel and fly home to begin with, because nobody would accept the money they were paying with, not even here in Australia. It's also interesting that with Biden backing out, he is backing out from Japan. He's only leaving Australia off the end of this Asian trip, nowhere else. So he's going to the G7, which Albanese will be going to, along with Modi from India, and of course hosted by the Japanese Prime Minister, who was going to be here for the Quad meeting that Albo was so looking forward to hosting. I noticed that he offered to hand over the Australian Parliament for a speech from Biden to both sides of House and both sides of the House and the Senate. Biden, I think, had accepted that, but obviously things have changed at their end. That's not going to happen. He hasn't extended that same offer, I noticed, to President Modi of India. Now, President Modi of India is instrumental in the BRICS movement. That is the gold-backed alternative to the US dollar, which has been embraced by Russia, Saudi Arabia, many Middle Eastern countries, and a whole heap of, some European countries as well, I think, are starting to get involved. Sri Lanka, I think, has now got on board. There are a list of, I think, 188 countries that have agreed at some point in the near future to sign over to BRICS. Now, wouldn't this be an ideal opportunity for Modi, who was instrumental in helping Brazil, amongst others, and Russia put this deal together? Wouldn't it be an ideal opportunity for him to bring this up with elbow and just see exactly where Australia sits at the moment? Now, being that we think we're 100% controlled by America, if not owned by America, I don't suppose Elbow has any great opportunity to make a decision of any relevance on this without going and asking for permission. But it will be interesting to see if we get any talk of that coming out of the meeting, the Quad meeting, that'll now be a triangle, because one corner of it's staying home or flying home from Japan rather than coming here. I was having a long conversation today about the American debt crisis. Will the debt ceiling be raised? Currently, $31.4 trillion is the debt ceiling. And I believe they're asking for some trillions of dollars extra in this budget, so that some of the more outlandish, stupid, and dare I say, allegedly criminal policies of the Biden government can be enacted. And for whatever reason, Kevin McCarthy seems to have grown a set all of a sudden. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not that's just an inflatable set that he blows up when he needs to and lets them down when anything really gets confronting, or he blows them up a bit more and stands on his nuts a bit and commits to holding the line here and getting what seemed to be fairly common sense spending cuts introduced to the budget so that the debt ceiling can be raised a little bit, not a whole heap. But at the moment, the Biden administration are absolutely refusing to give any ground at all on the debt ceiling issue. And I dare say for a little while longer anyway, that is going to continue to be the case. The 1st of June is the date that Yellen gave, that's the woman who's running the Treasury, I think, at the moment, or at least assumed to be. That's the date she gave as the beginning of the crisis affecting the US being able to pay its bills. From June 1st, we're hearing it could be that early that things start crashing. June 15 is another significant date because most Americans, believe it or not, are paid fortnightly, not weekly. So that's when the issues will really crunch. And of course, some are paid monthly. Military, I believe, are paid monthly, and that's going to pose a bit of a problem at the end of June too. Then I would have thought, if they indeed get paid for the end of May. So watch that space. It's going to be pretty interesting, and I think could well, if McCarthy holds the line, if McCarthy and the Republicans hold the line, it will force the financial reset because they can't allow the banks to go on doing what they're doing, carrying this trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars worth of debt and then passing it on to us. They're incurring it, not us. And they supposedly incur it on our behalf, but we have no say in what kind of debt they incur on our behalf, and then they expect us to pay. So it's going to be an interesting little time. Gold and silver. I had an interesting conversation this morning with a gentleman who was very, very motivated to go and spend a lot of money. He had taken out of superannuation, and he wanted to know how much gold he should buy and how much silver he should buy. Now, I am no financial advisor. I am not in a position to tell you what is best for you, whether you have $5 or $5 million. I am not in a position to advise you in any way, shape, or form what you should do with it. I can point you in the direction of people who are licensed to do so. They will probably give you information that involves you going into some sort of fund that will keep paying them a return every month for, as long as you stay in it, that kind of thing. Now, if that's something you want to be part of, then by all means you can be part of that. Otherwise, yes, you can get into your own precious metals, go in and buy whatever you want, gold or silver. The question today was, how much is gold going to go up versus how much is silver going to go up? Should I buy gold? Should I buy silver? Well, that is a question that's best answered by Cass Smith, and I think she would say everything in moderation and everything in balance. So nobody should throw all their eggs into one basket at all. That would be stupid, and we've all heard the old adage. How many of us take notice of it? Because I know I didn't for a long time. But, it's a lesson that we all need to learn. Don't throw all your eggs in one basket. If you can spread your risk around a little bit, all well and good. But in the case of superannuation or, particularly large sums, you need to understand that if, let's just say, for instance, you were going to go and buy $100,000 worth of silver, you are going to need a small truck to take that away. Okay? It weighs a lot, and it takes up a lot of room. So that kind of a payment, if you wanted to take that sort of silver home with you, requires not just the payment of $100,000, but access to a forklift and a truck and a number of reasonably strong backs to unload it at the other end. So be aware of those kinds of restrictions. Others have warned me that, we've been buying a bit of silver here and a bit of gold there and a bit of silver here and there. And, now it all adds up. We've got, quite a little bit of precious metal, but we're traveling, so we're on the road. Our biggest concern is now leaving anything, like leaving the campsite, leaving anything at the campsite. And because they have enough to make it bulky and heavy to carry, it's not easy just to take with them when they go sightseeing to try and be secure. And what happens if you lose it? So there are all these things to consider. Of course, these are folks who are not playing with their superannuation like that. This is just gold and silver they've bought over the years. However, with superannuation, you could, in effect, be in the same basket to a certain extent. And this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow night with Cass Smith. People like myself who have a very small super balance. Mine is under $30,000. Mine is under $25,000 from memory. I don't even bother looking at it anymore. There are many others that have got similar amounts, 30,000, 35, 55, 75,000. Essentially, if you are looking at a self-managed super fund, it's my understanding from Cass that it's not really worth looking at unless you have more than $120,000 in super yourself. Once you have that sort of equity, that sort of money, then it is possible, without losing too much of it, to pay the fees and extract your money from Big Super and then invest that into gold and silver or other precious metals as you see fit. It's more difficult and more expensive if you have smaller super balances. So tomorrow night, Cass and I will discuss ways that you can band together with others who have equally small super amounts, but otherwise qualify. There are, for anybody who's already inquired through Freedom Financial Services about this system, you will have been sent an information pack. And through that information pack, you will have to answer a few questions. If you tick all the appropriate boxes and answer yes to those questions, then you can move forward. If not, then until those issues are rectified, then nobody can help you. So tomorrow night, we're looking forward to Cass joining us at 7:30 tomorrow night, a different time. Only because she has some prior commitments that she needs to get to. So that'll give her time to be back, and we'll be able to take your questions through the chat as well. Things like, do you need to know the people that you are going into a self-managed super fund company with? Do you, does anybody else in the SMSF have your access to your gold or silver? Do you get to keep your gold and silver at your place under lock and key, or does it have to be vaulted somewhere where it can be viewed by the government at any stage they so deem? Because that is part of what happens with a self-managed super fund. Even if you do, I believe, get to take your gold and silver home with you, it is not there for you to go and play with, to go and sell chunks of, or to go and essentially do anything with, other than make sure it is safe and that it grows in value. And the way it grows in value is by you hanging on to it and watching it grow in value. Now, I haven't looked at the price of silver or gold in a week or so, so unsure of what that is at the moment, but I'm pretty confident it's still growing rather than going backwards. So worthwhile investing in metals, precious metals. If I was going to do, well, I'm not going to give you advice, but I'm going to tell you what I would do in the case of having some spare money. It'd be going straight into silver. I can't afford gold unless I come to Rob's place and try and help him dig it out of the ground. And we'll have to see what happens about that. I've got to learn to deal with the spiders and the heat and the snakes and the cranky neighbours that have guns, and all those weird things that you find around those sorts of northern parts of Australia. Wild horses, wild pigs. Really, fun times for all. All right, let me have a bit of a glance down the questions here and see if we've got anything. So 7:30 tomorrow night, if you want to be involved in that super chat. It's with Cass Smith, and we will endeavour to have some. Here we are. I'm dobbing her in already. So Cass, if you're watching this, tomorrow night might help if you had a few of you girls in the chat able to answer questions that we don't catch up with because we're going too quick. But that's what I'll try and enable to have happen, that some of the staff are in the chat tomorrow night. So any questions that you have, we may not be able to get to them all here, but somebody in the chat will have some sort of answer for you. So that will be the plan, Jan, for tomorrow night, 7:30, different time. I may do a show at 6:30. It really just depends what sort of intel is coming through. I have had some interesting intel. I like this one particularly. They wonder why we have to get crypto regulated. Hey, look at that, will you? How sad is that? I don't know whether you're into pokies, folks, but I have had the misfortune, whatever you want to call it, of working in casinos and working in RSLs with a lot of gaming machines. It's amazing the trance people get into while they're playing those pokies. The horrible music that sounds like it's coming out of a 1987 Casio keyboard is deliberate. It's done to mesmerize, hypnotize you, if you like. The lights flashing in certain patterns, certain colors, certain timings per second. The whole thing is geared to absorb you. And I have walked up to people who are staring at a screen doing just that. Tap, 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 tap. And I've had to reach down beside them to grab a glass or to, ask them a question or whatever. And they have shit themselves. Like, literally jumped out of their chair into the roof like Sylvester the cat holding onto the roof. They get so absorbed in it. And the only thing that I'm surprised about with that particular shot, and let me put it up again just so you can see it. The only thing I'm really surprised about with that particular shot is how much light there is in that room, because normally the rooms are very, very, very dark. And of course, there are no clock settings for it or anything like that. You can't get any, or you won't find any clocks in there anywhere. I've got a couple of other little interesting things I want to show you before we disappear off tonight. See if I can grab the next one here. Oh, hang on. Might be a video instead. I've cancelled that. Let me go back here. So I did drop in a couple of little videos here that I wanted to show you. This one is a very interesting one. This is something archaeologists apparently have just found in Kazakhstan.
An archaeologist has recently uncovered the origins of a large pentagram inscribed in a remote part of Kazakhstan. The symbol of a five-pointed star within a circle, situated near the southern edge of the Upper Tobol Reservoir, is clearly visible on Google Earth. Oddly enough, apart from this landmark, there is a notable absence of human settlements in this vicinity, with the nearest city, Lysakovsk, located approximately 12 miles towards the east. The vicinity adjacent to Lysakovsk is abundant with historic ruins of archaeological importance, featuring settlements, graveyards, and burial sites that date back to the Bronze Age. These sites are still largely uninvestigated and scattered across the desolate expanse. The unusual shape measures around 1,200 feet in diameter, and as of right now, people are unsure of why it was placed here.
People are unsure why it was placed there. Okay, well, be that as it may, we will see, I guess. Hopefully more questions will be asked, and we will have an opportunity at some point to see exactly why those things were placed there. Some people, folks, get to have, like a really bad day. This fella has had a shocker. Yeah, just have another look. Watch this. Do not go walking on what looks to be a whole heap of metal. Whew. Anyway, fingers crossed that he managed to survive that. Certainly a terrifying ordeal if you happen to be one of those people who works in that sort of field. I dare say that, yes, it's a very bad thing to have that sort of stuff laid out while there's wind around. And speaking of wind, I did find something I wanted to share with you. I'm pretty sure that's it. I've just got to wait for it to line up. QSI, while that's uploading, I'll mention a bit about QSI. I've had some conversations, a conversation yesterday with Jane. I haven't spoken to her much today. Haven't spoken to her at all today, in fact. QSI is under a bit of attack at the moment. I'm not making excuses for QSI, and Vince and I will have a show on Friday night where we will bring you up to speed with what he's found. In fact, the whole QSI story from the Voice of Freedom perspective. So we will endeavour to do that Friday night. I'll be in Rockhampton Friday night. This show might be done from a pub somewhere at this stage of the game. I'm not completely sure. But we will have a chat about it, and Vince has some pretty interesting information and graphs and things that he wants to share. So we'll look forward to hearing some more about that. I have sent messages back through the system saying I'd be very interested in talking to Emily and Whiplash. Whiplash, of course, has a huge following. Doesn't need to talk to a little bloke like me, but don't ask, you don't get. That's pretty much my adage. So in that regard, at any rate, so if Whiplash chooses not to speak, then that's obviously his choice. If Emily chooses not to speak, then that's her choice too. I think it would be a little bit unfair to leave Jane in the lurch, but Jim as well, for that matter. But if it winds up that they're the ones who wind up wanting to talk, then all well and good. But I don't think the people are ready to hear any excuses at the moment. They want to know the facts about what's happened, what's being said, and if there is any truth to what's being said. It's also worth looking into who is saying these things. If you do a little bit of investigation, you'll find there's a great deal of malice between one of the players in this that is trying to out QSI. I believe they were involved with QSI at some point, whether they're an admin or whatever. And they were removed from the position through actions they were taking that were not in line with what QSI was all about. Now, this may well just be, a bit of a venomous pushback from a disgruntled ex-employee. I don't know. Not prepared to say that that's exactly what it is, but I do know that certainly for one of the people involved in this, who is propagating the concerning details about QSI at very least, I would look deeper into that person and just ask what other ulterior motives they might have for doing and saying what they're saying. Having said that, I am not. I'm not offering up excuses or trying to tell you that the QSI is a scam or is not a scam. The whole reason we started out this QSI thing was to try and learn, because I am not equipped to tell you what is a scam, what isn't a scam in the crypto world. Vince, on the other hand, he is pretty good. He has a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills. So I'm really looking forward to what he can tell us Friday night, and that'll be 6:30, I think, unless we have to go earlier for other reasons. Now, I'm hoping that I've downloaded the right video. You will remember the one that I played you a little while ago that was our I couldn't believe that there was a troll in the world who did not understand how resistance rubbers work, and wound up smacking himself in the nuts, farting, falling over, and shitting himself. Well, it continues. That didn't work nearly. I've downloaded the wrong one, clearly. That person breaks the plastic chair, falls down and farts that horrendous fart. It's hilarious, but probably not so much in the telling. I'll get the real one and show it to you. I was going to make another troll reference. I do talk about dickheads on the road a lot, folks. And I watched a video that came up the other day. Now, I'm going to warn you, I'm going to play this video. It's an in-car camera of a car crash. Nobody is hurt. Well, it doesn't sound like anybody is severely hurt. And as you'll tell, the lady that was in the car that was hit is certainly not hurt. Angry, but not hurt. I want you to watch the video and have a think of who is the dickhead here. So I'll play it a couple of times for you because it's relatively quick. Watch this.
Imbecile! Fucking. Oh! You fucking cockhead! You fucking imbecile! Fucking. Oh! You fucking cockhead!
Yeah, who is the dickhead? Where she is trying to turn right, clearly there are some driveways along that right-hand side of the road, but she is on a traffic island. It's a painted traffic island, but that doesn't mean you can pull up on it and turn right. It's clear that she is coming down a piece of road, one way, and it's coming back into joining into a single lane carriageway each way. Hence the painted on traffic island to say that, well, we're coming in out from a multi-lane or a bridge or whatever it is that she's got behind her, and you're not meant to be turning right there. You can't see a turning lane. Not saying there isn't one, but my guesstimation at the moment, there is no turning lane. Now, the car that comes up behind her, for whatever reason, decides to go right rather than left. Was that car coming down the off ramp as it looked, or the going in the opposite direction to the traffic that came up 2 seconds prior to it, or did it come from behind and in a fit of panic went right instead of left, thinking that they could pass, on the right, if you like, and clipped the car that was stationary? Which one is the dickhead? I'd argue that they're both dickheads. I would argue that the car behind is going too quickly or was travelling too close and couldn't avoid the stationary vehicle that was presented in front of them. The car behind probably wasn't paying attention, or came over a hill, a rise, if you like, and had no line of sight. The person driving the car that was turning right and was parked on the traffic island, I think, will be the first person at fault in this, because they are stopped in an area which, if you look at the video over and over as I have, you will see that there is no turning area marked there. So that might be her driveway or a friend's driveway or whatever driveway she's going into or trying to turn right, but she's too far in the middle of the road to be doing a U-turn to go back up the other side, unless she planned on running off the road fairly widely. So my guess is she was turning into a driveway there somewhere and just didn't want to go down, turn around and come back and drive into it as the law would dictate in that area. So who's the dickhead? Well, I'd say it would be both of them, but she would be the first dickhead at fault. That's just my stab at it. Just my stab at it. But I think both dickheads at the end of the day. Take your time, keep your eyes on the road, stay back, and always assume that the only dickhead on the road is the one that's near you. All right? Look out the window. Any other vehicle you see, probably run by a dickhead. If you can assume that and you can drive your vehicle safely to avoid that, then we shouldn't have any problems. Shouldn't have any problems at all. That's the feeling. Evening, Stephen. Nice to see you got in here tonight. And Camillo's in. He climbed in late at last. Gold sitting at $2,991.51. Silver at $35.58 today. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. So gold has come down $9, $10, or probably $20 in the last week or so. But keep an eye on it. It'll go back up. Silver, I think I saw it 38. Might have been a bit higher than that. 40, just under 40, I think it was the other day when I looked. So they do go up, they do go down, they do go up, they do go down. The nice thing about it is they always retain their value, unlike the cash or whatever paper or plastic or digital shit they've got in your super account. Find out, like I say, tomorrow night, if you want to get your super out and you don't have enough to make it viable, but you're prepared to join together with others. Find out how that can happen with Cass Smith tomorrow night from Freedom Financial Services from 7:30 right on here. Paul Orchard, good advice. If you don't own it, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So that was always my concern with buying any kind of precious metal. If you've got to put it in a vault somewhere, that vault is controlled by others. So when you need it and you can't access it, unless they plan on giving you a vault that you can access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even then, if the electricity were to go down, how would you get into said vault? because it would have electric locks and all sorts of other security around it that simply won't work. So, yes, I think Paul's got the right idea. Hold it, and you'll find a way to keep it safe, and safes might be the way. I have heard of all sorts of really interesting ways of keeping your gold and silver safe, and there is no point in me telling you about them, because if there were nefarious types wandering around and they were somehow able to line up through, process of elimination who the people I'm referring to were, they might decide to go knocking on their doors or knocking in their gardens or knocking wherever, and that could create problems. Also, if you go out giving out all the really good spots and how to put them in there, of course the thieves know where to look. So it's a bit of a conundrum, because I've wanted to try and supply safe places, ideas where you can keep your stuff safe. But if I was to supply a list of 10 places for you to go and new places, for instance, where you could go and keep certain amounts of gold or silver safe, would only be as safe as long as you didn't show the list to anybody else, and neither did I. So I'm a bit self-defeated there. However, the other suggestion is get plenty of ideas, make the list 1,000 suggestions long or more, and that'll give the thieves too much to bother trying to look for. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in prison thinking about nothing. Coming out and starting at a list of 1,000 is probably not a bad way of going forward. And yeah. Anyway, something to think about going forward. Having a bit of a glance down to see if there's any questions here I can help out with. Maybe there is none. Gympie folks, want to get your heads together if you're up around the Gympie area. John and I, aside from going to Rockhampton this weekend, when we return, we within a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, we'll be heading north and making a run right up to Cooktown. So we plan on doing shows along the way. That, of course, will include Rockhampton again, and Yeppoon and Gympie. We would like to get a show happening there. We'll also do something further north, obviously, Mackay, Townsville, Proserpine and Airlie. And Cairns, of course, we'll get up onto the Atherton Tablelands, and we'll do our best to try and have something in Tolga. And Cooktown, really looking forward to that. Something from the Palmer River Roadhouse. Might even catch up with Rob at the Palmer River Roadhouse. Get him a beer and a hamburger, and we'll go from there. I think that could work out quite nice. That's all coming up next month, so to speak. So chin up, folks. We are coming north, and John will be armed with a mouthful of bad language and a fishing rod. You can be guaranteed. Spiders and ants. Yeah. Oh, hey, Sandy's in the house. Now, you might have recalled last night, I did show you a terribly cute picture of Sandy and, as it turned out, Little Baz. So Little Baz is named after Big Baz. I mean, look at that for a Sasquatch, will you? I mean, that's a normal-sized donkey standing beside. Don't be confused. No, serious. So that's Baz. That's Sandy. This is Baz. And this little piece of cuteness at Baz's knee is May May. Now, May May was 24 hours old when that picture was taken. Absolutely beautiful. That was just my phone going on the floor again. Probably another smash screen. Don't you love that? So, yeah, Baz and May May, about 24 hours old. May May now is a star. She has departed the sanctuary, along with a number of friends from the sanctuary, I believe, and they were part of a donkey troupe, if you like, that were performing a World War I event. I think in Caloundra was one of the events in preparation for the Royal Easter Show, which I think has already been, obviously. I wonder whether or not it was performed there down in Sydney. I think that was the plan. May May was going to be a star. I'm not sure if she wasn't going to be Simpson's donkey or something similar in all of that. But yeah, absolute little piece of cuteness. And that was her when she was 24 hours old. I don't know if you've decided, had a chance to chat amongst the family and the extended animals on your property to see whether or not you have room for a donkey or two. But if you do, then Baz and Sandy can help you out. They run a sanctuary for all animals, but predominantly a donkey sanctuary. And if you are looking for a donkey and you can give them a good home, bear in mind they are long-living animals, long-living animals. So if you are considering giving one a home, it's more of a commitment than a dog, okay? A long-living dog, because these donkeys can live to 70 years of age. So it doesn't mean you have to have them till 70, but would be nice if the family fell in love with them. And if you're on the property to keep them, well, you know, it's nice to have them there all their life, isn't it? They are beautiful and they are smart. Paul, I don't know what to say about that. I've met Baz. I know he carries a gun around at times. You know, gotta be nice. Sandy. Oh, there you go. Righto. Back in Tamworth training other shows and coming to the Eka. Oh, beautiful. All right. So May May's going to be at the Eka as part of the donkey show there. The troop comes out of Tamworth where they get trained down there at the brilliant Equine Centre. What a beautiful place for them to live too. So called Rooftop Express, I'm hoping. I'm reading the messages backwards here, Sandy. So yeah, not helpful. There you go. We've already got one tentative. I'll have one day. Thanks, Gisela. Really appreciate it. You would never want for a cuddle if you had a donkey in your life. Well, provided you treat it well. From what I've found, they are terribly loving animals. Beautiful, beautiful animals. A lot of fun. I'm just having a bit of a look at some of the things that are being said, seeing if there is a question or two there. Samantha, I think you're referring to QSI. I could be wrong there. Yes, there's a lot of things going on. If that's about QSI, there's a lot of stuff still going on, still coming out. We've got to wait for the pimple to burst fully, I think, before we can completely assess the damage. But I certainly do want to be involved with that. Sunflower, did I get your email? I replied to, I think, 2 of your emails last night. I read them in reverse order. So the answer is yes. I replied to 2 of them last night. If you've sent me one today, no, I haven't seen it yet. I've had a day on the phone. My phone is a relatively old Apple phone. I think it's an 11. I think the battery in it is not, I suppose, at its most vital. But today, just ridiculous. I've had to recharge the thing 2.5 times. So I've spent most of the day on the phone since the moment I woke up. And that's just helping out a few people who require it and trying to organise a few different things coming up for this weekend in Rocky. Want to be able to take you guys along with it. So if you're not going to an event near you, then flick on the Voice of Freedom. We will be live from, I don't know, somewhere around 11 o'clock, 11:15 maybe on Sunday, I beg your pardon, Saturday. We might, just depending on battery life. So everything I'm going to be doing will be not using a laptop. It'll be using a different piece of equipment. And I'm not exactly sure how long the batteries are going to last. So the only thing I have to be absolutely sure of, because I'll never hear the end of it if I don't, is make sure I'm streaming John's chat when he gets up on the stage. So we'll get to that. I'll just make sure I've got enough battery left in cameras and the other little bit of gear to do so. So our start time will be sometime prior, I would think, to midday. I want to do the Forest of the Fallen in Rockhampton too, to show people the turnout there. And hopefully in the lead up to the speeches, or indeed after the speeches, be able to meet up with a few people in the audience and let you have your say too. So if you want to catch up, look forward to seeing you in Rockhampton this Saturday for the big Freedom Rally. It's happening in the big gardens area in the centre of town there. So I look forward. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So look forward to seeing you guys there. And if you can't make it to that one, please go and join one that's happening in your area. My place are running them all over the place. Frankston is going to be a big one. George, yes, George, you do win. Although I have a friend that has a Nokia 3310, I think it is. The only thing you can do on that is play Snake. Remember the snake chasing thing game? Very hard to do anything with that other than make and receive phone calls. You can't see a picture on it. It has no smart capabilities whatsoever. And that also makes it very hard to track just between you, me, and the gatepost. Yes, a magnetic battery charger. What a bloody good idea, Sunflower. If only I had the skills. Anybody who knows me knows I'll give it a go. But I'm a bit Tim the Toolman Taylor-ish. Oh, love the tools. Got no idea what to do with them. And quite likely would electrocute myself or, I don't know, do something weird. That doesn't mean I don't have a go from time to time. Still got all my fingers. That indicates I don't play around with saw blades a great deal. That's all I would say. Having a bit of a glance to see if there's anything more down there. Rubber gloves. Yeah. Yeah, the snake program, you're right, was only 3 short commands. What was it? Up, down, left, right. Try and catch up with the, what was it? You had to eat every item it ate, it grew a length or whatever it was. You had to avoid the tail of the thing. That was the other thing, wasn't it? You couldn't bite back on yourself. So, yeah, that was an old game. Try and get the kids to play that one. I believe Nokia 3310s or those old Nokia phones are worth a lot of money these days if you have one floating around and you can still get a battery for it. Maybe Battery World are the people to talk to there. But, yeah, you could make $1 out of that. I saw one of them sold recently for about $1,000. You need and make a solar-powered battery bank. Thanks, Camillo. Okay. Might nearly have to look into that. Won't have it for Rocky, but we'll have to see what they cost. Also, oh yeah, your daughter plays the updated version of Snake. Is there an updated version of Snake? Is there? I can't imagine how impressive that would be these days. I suppose the graphics in it would be much better. Wouldn't be hard to improve on them. Ads. Oh, I guess you're referring there to the iTerra wand. No, you don't burn the water. What it does is it aligns it in a certain fashion. It changes the molecular structure, and the molecules of water are something. Oh boy, I got some stuff to show you on the molecules of water, but I need to make sure I know exactly what I'm talking about before I show you, because I could get in a bit of trouble if I get it wrong. So, yeah, there is stuff hidden in the molecules of our water, our tap water. It doesn't matter how many times you filter it, you will not get the nanoparticle that is hidden inside the water molecules. And you are drinking millions of them with every glass of water you drink. What are they? What happens when they get inside your body? That's the interesting question, because the only time the water molecule is broken down in the whole process of coming out of the tap and into your mouth is when it hits the inside of your body and your body processes the water. It breaks it down at a molecular level and it releases, well, if you haven't seen it, give me a moment. Oh, I don't think I've got those ones here. No, I don't. Haven't got my magnetic ones here, but that releases a whole heap of shit into you, which we will do a much closer thing on in the not too distant future. with the use of microscopes and all those good things that give you a look. Bit of a look around. I saw Greece mentioned here. Steve, what's going on with your Greece? Greece everywhere. Oh no, your phone won't rust covered in grease. Mate, hydraulic wood splitter. That'll keep you busy for the day or the night, as the case might be. Are we going to come to Mount Gambier? Yes, if you can find us a place to come to in Mount Gambier, we would love to. Email Vince at vofhq.com, Narelle, and he will tell you when we can come to Mount Gambier. And Vince is in Mannum, so you can be guaranteed we're not too far apart. It'll be before then or after then. How good's that? So, yeah, email Vince at vofhq.com and tell him you're interested in getting a show put together somewhere in Mount Gambier, and he'll give you an idea. We've just got to find somewhere to have it, and we're not fussed. Maybe there's a My Place in Mount Gambier that's open or will be open by the time we get there, fingers crossed. Yes, you've got to remember the wind-up torch and phone charger. You are now aging yourself, Sunflower, but I think you can still buy those. If you go to camping shops and whatnot, I'm sure you can still get wind-up torches and wind-up phone chargers. I remember trying to use one of those wind-up phone chargers from Flat once. My God. Certainly got a good workout. You don't want to get caught, though, trying to do it in your sleeping bag at night, because it's a really strange look to get caught while you're winding. Anyway, you get the idea. If you don't get the idea, try and act it out. You'll see where I mean. Some interesting things coming out about, I see DARPA being mentioned here, J1. There are some interesting things coming out about climate change now. And I'm working on a video at the moment that I found today that I need to rip and play portions of you to. In fact, I may even play the whole thing. But it is a video from the UN that is dated out of the 70s, and it has been deliberately removed from the record. Somehow or other, it's been reinserted, so to speak. It's popped up recently, and it is quite hard-hitting. It calls out the UN, it calls out Big Pharma, it calls out big agriculture for altering the climate and trying to micromanage the climate, which it can't do, because every time it changes a broad spectrum part of the climate, it screws up a microclimate in that particular area that is required to grow other things, not just the plants you're trying to grow or the crops you are trying to grow. That video has been suppressed for over 30 years, so I will be digging that one out and playing that one to you hopefully in the next day or two as well. I've got it. It's just so busy today. I would have shown it to you tonight, but I haven't had time to rip it, so I will get it to you. Let's have another glance down and see what happens. Yeah, that's a good one, Gisela. Detox and parasite cleanse on a regular basis. And I believe, if you haven't done them, those foot baths where you do a cleansing through your feet, sucks out all the shit out of your body, supposedly. I believe they're well worthwhile doing too. And I know some people who've taken it up recently and absolutely swear by it. So if you haven't tried that, maybe that's something pretty good to try and detox yourself with. I haven't done a detox in some time. And thank you, George. At least you got into what I was talking about. Yeah, I haven't tried a detox in some time. The last time I did try a detox, I thought I was going to die. And I took a urine sample into a pathologist who said, "Oh, that person's not very well, are they?" When they looked at it. And I'm like, "Oh, really? Why?" "Oh, well, see all those little copper things floating around in there?" I was like, "Yeah." "Oh, that's blood." "Oh, great." So it turned out I was just a bit over exuberant with the Chinese herbal detox pill that I was given. They gave me 4 on the first day, and I thought I was meant to keep taking 4 at a time. I wasn't. I was meant to take 1 a day after that. So my body went into overdrive, trying to shed just about everything. That was the last time I tried doing that. Came out of a mind, body, spirit festival out of Sydney from memory. I think I was hosting at the time. The fun things we do when we detox. I've never done one of those colon detox kind of things. I used to work with a girl once who used to quite happily tell us she was going off to have the whole flushing thing done. It made for interesting breakfast show radio the next day, I've got to tell you, but that's another, well, rather dirty story. And I don't mean that in any salacious sense. I just mean, ugh. All right, folks, I'll let you go. We've discussed the dickheads, and I just want you to stay safe from them. That's how easy it is. Somebody just pulled up somewhere they shouldn't be, and you come over a rise, not expecting them to be there, zigging instead of zagging, and the consequences, well, I guess they could have been worse, but pretty significant for all those involved, and certainly just another bill you add on to your, or another increased bill you add to your yearly insurance, I guess. Be safe on the roads, folks. Watch out for those dickheads. Tomorrow night, don't forget, 7:30, unless I start a little earlier at 6:30 if there's some good intel. And Cass Smith to talk about superannuation and how you and a bunch of strangers can get together and get your super out of super and into gold and silver. Have a good night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!